Good morning. Hey, what a wonderful day. The verse I have today is one that is very good. Cause me to hear thy loving kindness in the morning, for in thee do I trust. Cause me to know the way wherein I should walk, for I lift up my soul unto thee. You know, I'm always talking about walk that path where the Lord would be pleased with us. So let's do that. And I feel good. I feel good. Just to know I've been redeemed makes me feel good. Oh, I'm on my way to heaven, and I'm singing as I go. And that's what I'm doing this morning. And I can't sing worth anything, but sometimes I just can't help it. So, this is a good day. I am so thrilled to be here. Normal. I didn't, somebody said that to go live, that Helen in Georgia has to work for 30 minutes. Well, honey, I found out you can't take a nap. You might oversleep, and if you schedule it, so forget that. I'm just not up to it, girls and boys. So sit down. Let's get back to the way we was. You know, we are kind of set in our ways, and I kind of got used to doing it, like this. And this is Friday, and we already saw one yard sale on our way here, and it opens at 9, so I don't have too much time, but I'm not on a schedule. I'm just not, I am spoiled. I do what I want when I want, except when James is ready to go to yard sales. He told me, he said, I'll be back about 10 after 9. I said, I'll be ready. I said, I'm going to talk to kids. Y'all are my kids, grandkids. You're my loved ones. God bless you. And I tell you what, I'm not up to doing live very much, but y'all don't care. You told me you love me anyway, and I love you anyway. So sit down. Let's visit a little while, because it's only 8:45 right now. I'm a morning person. By 2 o'clock, I'm shot. I was always that way, but I didn't always take naps. I never started taking naps till I married James Blair. Because when Buddy and I was on the evangelistic field, we would pull our fifth wheel over, and he would take an hour nap, and I would read. I never took naps, and I did not do it when I was married to number 2. But when I met number 3, when we was courting, and he had an office downtown, and he had a fellow secretary who is still a good friend, goes to our church, Wayne Hackworth, and he's a wonderful fellow. But if I wanted to talk to James during that time, I call the office to speak with James for a minute, he'd say, because he had a couch in the back room, and he said, I can't bother him right now, he's taking his nap. So he's always, even so when I married him, he takes his nap, and I got the feeling like a nap might not be bad. But I only usually take a 30-minute nap. But I was so stressed out yesterday, the Lord just gave me rest. I feel like the Lord gave it, because I usually don't do it. So sit down for a little while. I got till 9 o'clock. I'm treating my feet. I'm killing 2 or 3 birds with one stone. Drinking my coffee, using it to go like this. That's just the way I am. I'm going to take a sip, so I'm giving you time to go. Just take a minute and go. I did dishes already. I pulled out yesterday evening, before we've been home, I had dishes in the sink, because I don't like dishwashers, and I don't have one here. He has one at his house. I never use it, because I do my own dishes. Thank you. I just do them. So, but when I left, I was so, yesterday, I don't know. So when we went over to his house, I said, honey, I'm going to lay down for a little bit. And man, all of a sudden he was at the door saying, at the bedroom door, because I went to bed to lay down. I cannot sleep in a chair like he does. He can sleep anywhere. I can't do that. But somebody, so there I was, and when he woke me up, I jumped up and went to try to get this thing to going. I didn't even have a half an hour. So, because it's a problem. So anyway, I got it on, and I dropped, and then I wanted to show y'all Big Tom, and I dropped the iPad back over. I thought it was a disaster, but I haven't watched it to see how bad it really is. They did not get it downloaded very fast, and I called the company about that, my Wi-Fi company, and they're going to do better, they said. I hope so. Somebody the other day said they wanted to see what I looked like when I was young. Well, when I was about, let's see, I think I was about 12 years old here. And this is my school picture. And I can tell you about most each one of them. But can you figure out which one, let me get that off, which one of these is me? Just look them over. Which one is going to be Grandma Lois in about 80 years? 70 or 80 years. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you about this one right here. Let's see. Now the one, let me see, where is he at? Oh, the one in, well, I lost him. But the one in the coveralls. Let me see if I can get that again. Just a minute. Try not to mess this up again. But the one in the coveralls, there with his elbow across in the black overalls, that was Martin McCutcheon. And that is my friend Flossie with the necklace on. That was probably our macaroni necklaces. She's right there, and I'm right here. See how prissy I was? I was always that way. I mean, I always was prissy. And that is Fritz. Her name was Flossie Setzer. And then over there's a girl right here where my thumb is. I made them too big. I bring them back down. She died of cancer when she was about 32. The other one over there, he's already gone to heaven, the one sitting by her. She had naturally curly hair. The one sitting by the boy, right, let's see. Vic can do this. Well, it's gone again. The one sitting right here, she died of 32. And she had she was beautiful. And I always wanted to have naturally curly hair. And I look at some of them, and I remember this one right here. She could draw anything. She would take chalks and put like Santa Claus and a Christmas tree on the blackboard for us to look at. I've never seen anything like it. She was so talented. We used to have in our school a thing called box suppers. And it was like a party deal. I mean, the parents came, the grandparents came, and we all took a box and we would have supper in it. You know, fried chicken and usually fried chicken. And what you could cook at home, and you'd put it in a box and you'd bring it, and then the guys and the men would bid on them. And they didn't know who they belonged to. Unless the girl told you, that's my box, you make sure you get it. We don't want someone else to have it that she don't like and he don't like. So he would have to bid high. Sometimes I have seen him go for as high as $10 because those men come prepared to not let anybody get his girlfriend's box dinner. Well, I was not very old when they were doing this, and so usually this old farmer that lived over near us would give like $2 for my box dinner because nobody would bid on it because I didn't have a boyfriend that wanted it, but I'd just feed him a piece of chicken, biscuit, whatever we had that Mom would put in it. And I got to go sometimes to the box suppers. And then they would raffle off stuff, you know, like auction. And one time they had a box of chocolate cherry candy, which I just loved. And you know, that old farmer, he was my friend, and he kind of took me under his wing. He was just always a decent old man. So he bid it. So I was just praying I'd get that box of candy. I have prayed ever since I was a little girl about things, and sometimes just plain selfish stuff. But the Bible says you have not because you ask not, or you ask amiss. But it don't hurt to ask. It don't hurt to ask. So he knew that I wanted that, and so he went. He went all the way up to $2 and got it for me, and I had to come up here and get this box of chocolate cherries. You get it. And he said, go get it. So I went and got it. I'll never forget that. I was not very old at that time. You know, back when we was in school, it's so different from today. Now, when I was in about the 4th grade and 5th grade, these nurses would come around and they would give you your shots, or for your smallpox. I don't remember how they did that, but it made us sore, and they said, now don't scratch that off. Well, I'm going to tell you what happened. When Kathy and Karen, the twins, got 8 years old, I took them to the doctor to get their smallpox thing. And they got it. And now the doctor said, don't scratch it now. It's going to make a sore. Don't scratch it. Karen scratched it. And it was in the summertime. And she had mosquito bites. She got smallpox vaccination places in several places on her body. I went and asked the doctor about it, and he said, oh, no problem. She's just really vaccinated now. Which reminds me of a time. I used to raise toy poodles. And I got acquainted with this vet that lived up in the Knobs, and I had a couple of chihuahuas, and anyhow, I'd take them to him, and then when I got poodles, and he would help me cut their tails. You have to cut poodles' tails. Their tails will be naturally real long if you don't nip them when they're about 4 days old. So he taught me how to cut tails and dew claws. You take your dew claws out too. It's a surgical procedure, and I learned how to do it. Well, one time I went to the doctor up there, and I went in, and he happened to be gone for something. He had an emergency, and he had to leave, and his wife was in control. And she told me the funniest thing. She said, well, you know, he's gone. We'll talk. We'll visit a little. But she did whatever I needed him to do. She did. It was nothing serious. She said, you know, one time they bought this dog in, and it was rabies free rabies shots. They would do that, are real cheap, and so she could give rabies shots while he was gone. It was no problem. She said I could do that. So she said I got this one dog in, and it kept bigger dog, and it kept wiggling around and wiggling around. And she said I accidentally vaccinated myself with the rabies vaccine, and it scared me. She said, because I don't know what's going to happen. She said, so I called my veterinary friend, my friend that's a veterinarian also, and told him, she told him, I just vaccinated myself with the rabies vaccine. What's going to happen? He said, if you bite somebody, they won't get rabies. And she said that with a straight face. I don't tell jokes good, but I thought that was so funny. You won't give any, if you bite somebody, you won't give them rabies. He said it don't amount to anything. It won't hurt you in the least. Forget it. So she said it was okay. That was a funny thing. And I still feel good because you know what? I don't have to do live. I felt like I really needed to do that. But you know, there's some things you learn the hard way. And it can be that you're older when you learn some of that stuff. And I learned it yesterday. You know, those first two wasn't a whole lot of trouble, but I didn't schedule them. So I might do some more someday. When I feel good, I feel good. And whoever comes. That's what Miss Peach, Thrifty Living, said, because she does a living, oh, excuse me, but she does, she sings and does piano playing. And I still think that piano sounds kind of like strange. I don't know. Maybe it's in tune. I don't have a good ear anyway, probably. But she sang some really good songs the other day, and I just sung along with her. And she sang the ones that we used to sing in our church. And I bet others could sing along with her too. That's still on because she did it live. She does it live when she does that every so often. And I like some of her recipes. But I've got friends that told me, it's okay, we just want to hear you chatter and talk. Well, I can do plenty of that. No problem. But I was thinking about when the nurses used to come and give us our shots, and then I remembered about when polio was out so bad, and I was so afraid. My kids were like not real old yet, you know, like 10 and 12 and 5, and the twins, and Dennis Keith, we had adopted him, and we adopted him when he was about 5 years old, and he turned out so good. He's a grandpa now. I tell you what, he wanted to have a boy baby so bad, and he just had girls. No, I don't remember. But anyhow, he promised one of them. Yeah, he wanted a girl baby. That's the way it was. He wanted a grandkid. So he told his grandkids and he only had 2, which one got a girl first, he would give them this Trans Am he had. And you know what? It was a long time, and by the time he got grandbabies, the Trans Am was long gone. But they enjoyed that Trans Am for a while, him and his wife. Okay, now where was it? Oh yeah, polio. I was so scared of polio, and because people, you could hear them around. They were in an iron lung. You remember what an iron lung was? They'd get polio and couldn't breathe, and they would have to be put in this big thing, and then they could have oxygen, and for a good time, and then they would kind of recover and get well. And a lot of people were harmed by the polio. They didn't know really hardly what was causing it, but when they got the it wasn't a vaccine. It was like a liquid, and they would put so much on a sugar cube. So they had them at the school out the road. They was doing the not vaccinations, but treating people for polio. And I told my husband, I said, you're going, I'm going, the kids are going. And we all went and got our polio serum or whatever it was. And they put it on a little sugar cube, not very big, just a small little sugar cube. And you just eat it. You just put it in your mouth and let it dissolve and swallow it. And so we all ate our sugar cubes. Me and the kids and my husband. And it was such a relief to know that we was immune from polio from then on, because people were getting it everywhere. I don't remember if it was catching or what, but they didn't know. I don't remember, but I think they thought they caught it in swimming pools, and I don't know where all, but it was really a scary time. And you know, President Roosevelt had polio when he was little, and he was in a wheelchair most of his life. And Eleanor and him, she was kind of pretty when she was young, but as she got older, she was plain, not very attractive at all, but she was a brain. She was very, very intelligent, and she did a lot of good stuff. I have read a lot about her, and she was a go-getter. And I think he fell in love with another woman, and anyway, she did a lot of good things for the female population. And now, don't you think it's right that if you're born a woman, you're a woman, or a girl, female? If you're born a male, you're a male? I just don't understand. I never did want to be a boy. But now my sister Phyllis, she envied the boys, because you know what they used to do, and Denny's probably watching, but my brothers used to get together and get on the back porch and see who could send it the furthest, because they got something we ain't got. And I never did envy them, but Phyllis did, and she thought, if I was just only a boy, I could just do all kinds of things. Because boys can do a lot of things that girls cannot do. And that's one of them. Pee the furthest off the porch. I think Norman won. He's the oldest. And now he's 80. Well, let's see. I think he's 89 now. He's 2 or 3 years younger than me. Mom always said, Norman was such a good baby. And she would say that right in front of me and I remember it, you know? And I was not a good baby. My daddy said, I got the colic. And I cried at night and my belly hurt, I guess, I don't know, and they just have to get up and rock me, and he couldn't get good sleep, and he had a good job, and he needed to go to work. And I didn't let him sleep. But we grew to love each other. And he favored me so long, and then when I was 4 years old, my sister Phyllis was born, and I was so mean to her. I was mean to her when I was, like 6 and 7, 8 years old, because Phyllis would sit on his lap, and she'd say, I'm Daddy's little Gil. I'd say, you know good and well, Phyllis, you can say girl. She said, but I'm Daddy's little Gil. Daddy said, ain't that cute the way she says that? That's just adorable. And then he would give her his comb, and she would comb his hair. He had hair. He never did go bald. And I'm not bald. I've got hair, but I do wear wigs. I can prove I got hair. Shall I lift it and show you? No, guess I won't this time. Maybe next time. You never know about Grandma Lois, what she might do next. I've been that way my whole life. We go to yard sales, and we just get to talking with people, and we have the best time because I'm outgoing, and we meet interesting people. And I do shorts. Well, I kind of quit doing shorts. I guess I'm going to have to take it back up, but my phone was acting bad. But yesterday I was so discombobulated. Is that a word? Discombobulated? Over that live show that just about didn't appear, that I put on my house coat and house clothes that I wear around the house. Tell you what, the first thing I get to James's house, I take my harness off, and everything feels loose like a goose, and I love it because, woo! And I shake them at James sometimes. He just thinks I'm funny, but I just go, and I said, boy, that feels so good to get out of that harness and just to put on loose clothes. But as I'm sitting there, I decided to do a little short and apologize to all you sweet people, because for the first of my live, you couldn't even hear me because I didn't turn. There's a thing across on the microphone, I noticed, and I hit it, and it started. I could talk then. I mean, it was a experience. You look at life when you learn things, people. It's an experience. You've learned something you didn't know before, and maybe you can correct it, and maybe you can't. I may try again sometime, but I'm just not in the mood right now. I'm just free as a breeze and do as I please. That's an old something or other. Oh, goody gumdrop. Oh, yeah, I say that all the time. And if something's right, I say, that is Bob Jack Chicken Tree. Amen. And if you're going to do it, I don't know where that came from either, Bob Jack Chicken Tree. That's an old saying that the kids used to say. We had a lot of sayings that were different, but I find myself saying, heavens to Murgatroyd. What is going to happen next? And you never know. And things are happening, I tell you, in politics. It's amazing what's happening. I hate they're treating Elon Musk so bad. Some people are rejoicing in it, but that's evil. We're supposed to be kind to one another. We're supposed to be civil to one another. Even if you don't like somebody, you can say hi there and smile. It won't kill you. Kindness is free. We should be kind to one another, even if we don't like them. We're getting ready to have Easter dinner out at Kim's. And my granddaughter, Vanessa, has got a girlfriend. They claim they're married. Baloney Maroney. I don't believe two girls can marry each other, but they live together. and I won't check in on the rest of it. But her girlfriend, I call her girlfriend, because that's what she is to me. We'll be there at this dinner, and I really like her. I mean, but she has gone completely bonkers, and that's a fact, Jack, since Trump got elected, and put it all over Facebook. And so I took that watch out to Kim and Bruce, my Democrat son-in-law. A sweet guy, he really is. And him and Kim, they love each other and they have a happy home, except for politics. But one thing I'll say about Bruce, which I admired, he was watching Kamala do her speeches and her word salads, which she was saying nothing, not even giving you the weather hardly. And he was going to vote for her. And Kim and him almost wasn't speaking there right before the election, because Kim is a strong Republican and he is a strong Democrat. You know, one of the first things I asked James when I met him after we got together, are you a Democrat or a Republican? Now, it's that important to me. He said, I'm a Republican. I said, are you lying to me? Because I had a boyfriend before I met James to be his girlfriend, and his name, well, anyhow, he was a strong Democrat. And for all these people in town, he wouldn't vote for nothing if it wasn't Democrat. And then I met this other guy, and he was a Democrat. And there ain't going to be no future with me and a Democrat. When I was, when I was dating, just no future. And I really liked that one. His name was Roy. And I say was because you know what? Roy passed away. He died, and I had met James, and so I heard Roy was real sick, so I went to see him. And he said, well, I heard he was not going to live. And so I went to visit with him last time because we had some good times together. He took me out to eat a time or two, and we walked together at the mall a lot, and he was good company and had a good sense of humor, but he was a Democrat, bless his heart. So he said, how are you doing? And I said, he was on oxygen when I went to visit him at his house. And he said, are you out running around hunting you up somebody else? I said, well, I got somebody. He said, that's just like you. You would. He said, you're going to have somebody. I said, that's right. But I was never intimate with him, you know. And I married James. I believe in marriage. So anyway, Roy and I more or less told each other goodbye. He had a girlfriend all those years that lived in another state. And he told me, he said, and she would come every year and spend 2 weeks with him on her vacation. And they were intimate, he told me. And they slept together. And she had a husband. But she would come and spend 2 weeks with him. And you know, when he was dying, her husband had passed away. She came and stayed with him. He told me, he told me she was coming to stay with him during his last days. And she came. I knew his daughter, and she told me that the girlfriend came and stayed with Roy. And then I had another friend walking at the mall that I never dated or anything, because he had a girlfriend, and by then I knew James. And he was really he was a professor and so intelligent. He was so much fun to talk to. So I talked to him a lot, and I heard not too long ago, he had a sister that had dementia and passed away. And this guy had a girlfriend, and he told me about her because we weren't attracted to one another like that. He was a professor. He had taught in college. His vocabulary was fantastic, and he knew a lot of big words. So anyhow, and of course he never brought her to the mall, but finally I did meet her, and she was a black lady, and she was as sweet as sugar. I just loved her. We got acquainted. That was later on, after we knew each other pretty good, and she was younger than him, and he was planning on, in her older age, to take care of her, and look after her. Now I don't know what happened because I got married and he was still walking at the mall. My nose is itching, excuse me. And anyhow, I heard through a mutual friend that he had dementia. I don't know if he's dead or alive now, but he wouldn't be able to take care of that girl, that sweet black girl, that she was about 74. And at that time, she may be gone too by now. I'll tell you the truth, a lot of people that I've known are gone. And I've got a hush. It is after 9 o'clock, and he's going to be here in a minute, and I don't have my shoes on. It's been fun. Y'all walk that walk now where Jesus would be pleased with you. And I got to go. We're going to a yard sale. We drove past it at 8, coming home from the Y and getting our coffee, and they were already dragging stuff out. He can't hardly wait to see what all they might have that he don't need. Love you. God bless you. May the Lord keep you safe and go before you and make your crooked path straight. Bye-bye.